Okay, welcome back to my proving grounds, and we're back for part two of Informal IT's Bash Lab, the art of blocking. Now, as you can see on my webpage notes, where we left off was when we were on the terminal, we were verifying what we already did. We're going to skip past that, and we are going to go to part two, the art of blocking, know thy enemy. If you don't know the IP address and you only have the name, there's two ways that you can look it up. Primarily, these command line tools. First is nslookup. That's available. Windows, Mac, Linux. Normally, if it will give you an output both in IPv4 and IPv6 formats. If you're not exactly sure what that means, that's okay. You can look it up later. Primarily, uh, most places will give you like an example like nslookup.google.com because pretty much pretty well documented, but it works for just about everybody else too. Uh, I was primarily looking here, and you're going to see I was primarily focusing on 4chan. Uh, 4chan.org is primarily one of theirs, but there are others uh, that are not exactly the same site, but are not exactly kosher or family friendly or however you want to describe it. Uh, Let me just bring up my terminal and we will go from there. Let's see, bring that over here. Boom. Now, if we did an NS lookup, it's going to look, actually, it's going to look like that. Now, if we do NS lookup, and let's say I wanted to look up 4chan.com instead. Let's see. What did I miss? Oh, of course. Sudo. If I didn't mention it before, the majority of this stuff you're going to have to do this as an admin. So you're going to have to actually do it. And you're also going to have to spell correctly too. Both of those things are very helpful. And it's going to look like this. As you can see, uh, the .org version basically just gave me two IP addresses. And as you can see, this version, they're kind of in the same family on the 104.16s, but they're not exactly the same. Where these are 228 and 229, and then another .229. These are basically .42, .43, 44, 45, basically listing them as separate IP addresses or separate networks, kind of, but they're still identifiable. And it basically goes through that list. Uh, Most of these steps, you may have to actually include every single one of them in order to be sure, but I'm just doing short form today so that way we can cover a lot. Another method that's a command line tool that you could probably use is dig. And that it means domain information groper. To me, it looks like it's spelled grope. I don't understand why. It does. Dig for sure, and that's actually the command. So it's similar to ns lookup. You do have to do sudo. So you're going to go sudo dig and same site as before, not the org but the .com, just so that way you can see it. There it is. It's giving you the exact same stuff that you had here. These are here. And it kind of gave it to you in a way that that's a little bit more orderly. You got your dig will give you a little bit more information than you would in just using an NS lookup, but it's not too much more. Now, if we're going to go a little further past dig, we got to go into the firewall itself, not just identifying um, the website. Now, one of the very first things you're going to have to do is enable your firewall if it hasn't already been enabled. Most Linux distributions use Uncomplicated Firewall or UFW. There are others, and depending on whether you're using Red Hat and some company specific versions, the rules are relatively the same. So we're just going to bounce in here. I'm going to give myself a little breathing room there. And again, sudo UFW to start it. And then we're going to say enable. Firewall is active and enabled on system startup. That means it's still not running. You're going to have to restart your machine. But that's fine. I enabled this thing before and I restarted. But I restarted the machine again, so here we go. Now, past that point, you also have to get more information because sometimes people don't want to just hear, okay, it's on. They want to know more. So, sudo UFW, you want the status, and you want it verbose. And, of course, spelling is always a good thing, especially if you're typing too fast and you're not paying attention. You're just going to make mistakes. You don't want that. Verbose. And what is it with me wanting to hit the letter next to it? There we go. Boom. Here, it's giving you an idea of what's already been in here. To anywhere, you want to deny any entry from specific sites. Now, same thing here. Did that with 4chan.org. Did the subnet, did one of the two IP addresses. I can finish that up, do it again. But this gives you an idea of what's already in the stack. Now, here's the example that I just showed you. See? Pretty simple. Now, we're going for the method. For a single address, use the following. The basic is going to be sudo UFW, and you want to deny going out to any specific IP address. Now, for this one, I am going to do a little cheat. Scroll down here, give myself some room, and scroll up here. And I am going to copy, let's say, the first one on top of the stack. Come here, put that there. Did not work. Hold on. Just putting on a scratch pad so I don't want to keep scrolling back and forth. Alright. Now, you want to do sudo UFW and check out my addressing. Deny out to this IP address 4.16.4.6 and you hit enter. A rule has just been added. That's simple. Now, as you can see, there's the clarification. Same thing. Now, if you want to deny a specific coming from a block, let's see. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? See, this is why I keep my notes here. It's a lot easier to scroll through. If you want to deny anything coming in, I knew that was the reason I had this over two different ways. That was outgoing. Now, if we want to do incoming, same kind of rules. It's going to be sudo UFW deny from, and then you're just going to put the address. Since we already have it here, we just copy it, or manually copy, and then another rule added. Now you got incoming and outgoing from that site, at least from that specific IP address. As you saw before, we had multiples, so I'd have to actually go through all of them. I'm not going to put you through that kind of pain right now. Get rule added. Now, one more. If you want to block an entire IP range or an entire subnet, whichever way you want to say it, it's basically the same thing. The rules are fairly simple. I believe it's going to be like this. Whoop. Spacing is important. Sudo UFW deny anything coming from that location. And we're going to put that same site, but slight variation. Come on, here we go. Now my brain is, it's either 0/24 or it's the whole site -24. I am going to go with 0. If it doesn't work, then I just go back to it. Do the whole thing. But rules been added. Now, when it comes to this, you want to verify the application. You want to apply the changes instantly. You can do a reload instead of actually restarting the machine. Personally, I'll do the reload and restart the machine when it's actually feasible to do so. So sudo UFW reload, not feload, reload, and firewall reloaded. That's simple. Now, you also want to verify the block, and it's gonna look like this when it's done. The code is fairly simple. As super do, you're gonna be doing UFW again, not UTW, UFW. Why do I like to make all these messes with this thing? I don't know. I just do. I enjoy it. Maybe. Now, you want the status, and you want it numbered, because that way you want to see them identified by number line. So that way, if you need to remove a rule, it's a little bit easier for you to find. We can cover that later. But this is what it's going to look like. This is updated from what we already did, because now you see we have the deny in and the deny out for both, for the 4chan.com, or at least one of the IP addresses for it. Ta-da! So far, that's what we got. Now method 2. This is where we're going to be using IP tables. It's considered for advanced control. Let's see how it works out. Now, you want to drop all incoming traffic from a specific IP address. We're going to do that here. First, give ourselves some space. And now, sudo. And you're not going to be going into UFW this time. You're going directly to the IP tables. As a dash capital A. And I'm not sure why they want capitalization for input, but they do. So we'll just do it like that. Very important to understand, Linux is case sensitive. So if you're not sure what you're doing, be warned. Once you type in the address, you're not done yet. Space -J, and then -J space. You want to put drop in caps. I'm not sure if I actually have one too many spaces. So let me back up. J space drop. Now we do it. Wait for it. That's basically it. It doesn't really tell you anything. You can always verify after the fact. Now, if you want to also block it from going into specific ports, it's relatively the same. You're just adding a little bit more to it. So, basically, sudo. You want to do your IP tables. And instead, you can have your input, capital A, input again. But now, you're going to have minus P for port. I think it's for port, for protocol. TCP, so it's protocol. And another flag, minus minus, deport. Deporting this thing. 80. Identify the port that you want to block the site from. And then minus S, and then we put in the site again. And now, space, minus J again, and yes, we're going to drop the mic. Ta-da! If we're not sure, we're just over this there. I love having my notes like this. It makes it a little bit easier for me to keep track of everything. Beautiful. Here we go. Ta-da! That's done. Now you want to check your block list. And the script is fairly simple. It's going to look like this when you're done. Pretty much, you're doing a status. Kind of. Let's take a look. So, sudo, you're going to view your input tables. Input IP tables. And, let's see, S, space, minus capital L, inputs in capital, minus lowercase v, space, minus lowercase n, space, dash dash line numbers. And yes, it's not a compound word. It's separated by a hyphen or a minus symbol. And I apologize if I am not speaking loudly enough, but I hope the information is still useful and legible on the screen for you. So hit it, and this is what's going to look like. First line. I apologize. This screen is not going to actually making it into a nice little spreadsheet, but you get the general idea. It's covering everything here, and it just keeps going. It's pretty useful. Now, I hope this has been helpful to you. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more, but this is everything that I got going off the top of my head at this time. If I have more, or if anybody has any suggestions, or if you notice something that I missed that you think is very important, please bring it up in comments so that way I can actually follow up and make corrections if necessary. Thank you all. Have a great day.